What's good, y'all? BioSpider 3.0 back with part 2, the actual review of the Mafex number 223 Daredevil. So I have had a chance to play around with the figure, and I can tell y'all right now, it is a banger. Maybe one of Mafex's, no, for sure one of Mafex's best figures of all time. It might be my new favorite in the collection. So I'll show you guys the packaging real quick. So we're gonna move him aside for just a second here. Excuse me, Mr. Daredevil. All right, so here we have the packaging. I did go ahead and unbox him, as you saw or didn't see, but I will have posted the unboxing before this actual review drops. So, but yeah, this is what it looks like. I took out all the trays and all that so that you could see the background inside, which is a very nice comic cover. I'm not sure what issue that is, but you can see Daredevil swinging there, and you got some, comic bubbles there of him talking, and some other dialogue there at the bottom, which looks really, really nice. And then you got a really cool shot of Daredevil on the side there with kind of like the radar circles going around his head, which is the same picture that they use for the front of the package in the corner right there. 6-inch Mafex 223 Daredevil comic version action figure. Marvel Mafex Metacom toy. Coming to the side of the packaging, we have Daredevil in a nice pose there with his billy clubs. Coming to the back, really nice product shots of him kind of just, in all different sorts of action shots. So like kind of one like he's landing here, maybe just landing on the ground. And then you can see all of the alternate heads that he comes with. So he's out of the package, he has the regular stoic face, and then he has a stern kind of like teeth gritting face, and then one yelling open head, which is the one that you saw at the beginning of this video, which I really like that head sculpt a lot. That might be maybe my favorite out of the three. And then yeah, all those product shots looking really good. Coming to this side of the package, we have him in a running motion using his kind of grapple hook whip right there, and you can see it's got the little hook on the end right there, so he's running. That looks good. Got the DD Daredevil insignia at the top. Daredevil, we got his face there again. DD at the bottom, legalese, all that good stuff, and not much more. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the figure, man. One of the best Mafex figures that I've handled by far. Really, really did like the feel of him, like right out of the package. The joints felt really good, nice and sturdy and tight. He's got a nice weight to him too. Doesn't feel cheap at all. Very nice paint job. So aesthetically, let's go ahead and look at him up close. Well, first I'll actually put him on the rotating display stand so you guys can get a 360 view of this beast right here. Man, yeah, they killed it on this release. Wait till you guys see the articulation section. All right, so I'm gonna get him standing here. Got the rotating display stand. And go ahead and put him up here. Make sure he's able to stand straight here. His knees are a little bent right now. Let's straighten that out. Okay, there we go. So there he is, and let's get him rotating now. All right, so there is your 360 look at comic version of Daredevil. And yeah, he looks fantastic front to back. Very, very nice paint work all the way around. No sloppiness that I could see. Yeah, I really like it. They did a fantastic job on the aesthetics for this guy. Very, very appealing. He's gonna have great shelf appeal. Probably stand out next to your other characters. So very, very nice. So we'll let him spin around to the front here, and then we're gonna take him off. Boom. All right, cool. So let's take him off, move this out the way, and bringing him in close for a closer look. You can see just how nice the paintwork is on him. Got this very nice red, kind of dark, almost blood red paint for the majority of his costume, and then you have the lighter reds for things like his belt, the kind of like gauntlets or gloves that go over about like half of his forearm, and then the actual gloves themselves are in a lighter red, as you can see. I got him holding the billy clubs right now. Out of the package, he comes with 2 fist hands. I'll show you those in a minute. And then he's got the lighter red holster on the side here on his left side for the billy clubs. And then he's got, you know, the red kind of band going around his, you know, his lower thigh right here, which I'm pretty sure keeps the holster attached, you know, at least like it's meant to, but that's not what actually obviously keeps it attached to the figure. But yeah, coming down again, some more of that light red for the boots. But yeah, he looks great. And then the actual DD insignia on his chest is done very, very clean. It's sculpted and raised, so it looks really, really good against the chest. Very, very nice, clean paintwork there. And you can see that nice yelling head sculpt looking awesome, man. Mafex does a really, really good job of the comic characters when it comes to like their angry faces. I think in the Captain America review, I did say that sometimes their live action figures aren't as great when it comes to the angry or like yelling sculpts, but their comic figures, I feel like they always nail it. I've never seen like a bad comic, you know, figure from them that had like a bad head sculpt for the yelling face. So very, very nice. And then again, looking at the back, really good paintwork. Again, you can see they have like a black wash going through, which gives a really, really nice shading effect. It reminds me a lot of the Toy Biz era, and so I really like that they're applying, you know, those black washes to give it that nice comic feel, give some depth to the musculature. You see all the muscle sculpting in the back right here, the triceps. You know, he's ripped. Daredevil should be pretty ripped. He's not the biggest guy, but he is definitely cut and lean. And I would say he's like a little bit bulkier than Spidey for sure. Has that lean physique, but he has like more muscle, I would say, than Spider-Man, which is appropriate. So I like that a lot. Yeah, he looks very, very good physically. So there you go. And then putting him aside, we'll show the accessories that he comes with, because he comes with quite a bit, man, more than you would need. So that's one thing I love about Mafex, is they always load you with accessories. So we have the angry head where he's just kind of gritting his teeth. Very, very nice clean paintwork on this one as well. You can see like the lighter red for the eyes against the darker for the mask so that they stand out. Nice sculpt all around, clean paintwork. You got the horns and just like a very, very nice sculpted look for the cowl, the kind of wrinkles and things in the back. Very, very nice there. So you get that head, and then you get this head out of the package. This is the one that he has on him when you first unbox him. He's got this kind of stern head with the, you know, he's not necessarily frowning, but he is kind of, I guess you could say he's frowning. And the mouth just kind of has like a stern or stoic look to it, but very, very good paintwork again, very clean. And these pop on, you know, on and off like pretty well, pretty easily. They're very easy to interchange, so I like that a lot. But yeah, you got that one. And then looking at all the alternate hands, you have these kind of like flat, you know, hands up type of hands, you know, all the fingers together. Give me 5 hands, right? On the on their nice like little clear hook. I like that Mafex gives you these clear hooks. This is similar to Figma. I think Figma was the first company to give these kind of hooks for the alternate hands, but I do like that Mafex utilizes them as well. And yeah, these look really good. Very nice paintwork, kind of in that lighter red to match, you know, his gloves that are already on him, but very nicely done there. And then you have another pair of hands, which are kind of like open, kind of like grabbing or reaching out type of hands. So you can see they're in that pose right there. Very, very nice paintwork again and sculpt. You can see like the wrinkles in the glove. Very, very nice. So you get those 2 hands. And then you get a pair of like pure grabbing hands. These are like, you know, menacing, trying to reach out and grab somebody. Hands right here. You can see how curled in the fingers are. Like they're like look like these hands are ready to choke you out, right? So you got like the lighter red again. Very nice paintwork. Seems like there's a little bit of black wash in between there too, like in the palm area. So that looks really good. Like the upper hand. And yeah, that looks very, very nice. You got those nice grabby hands, very menacing right there. And then last but not least, you have the 2 fist hands which come on him in the package. I basically swapped them out for the hands that he has on him right now, which are the Billy Club holding hands. But yeah, you have these 2 fist hands as well. and then obviously the ones that are on him to hold the clubs. All right, and then as far as the actual weapons that he comes with, or weapon-like materials, he has, let's see, he has 3 different versions of his holster. So one of them, I believe this is the one that comes on him out of the package. This is the one that has one of the billy clubs holstered, or at least it gives that illusion. You can't actually, they're not like, it's not like an actual hole in the holster, so you can't like plug the other billy club in there. It's just meant to give the illusion that he has one of them unholstered, but you can see it's filled in there, so there's like paint or whatever, there's like molding inside of that hole, so you can't actually put the club in there, but it gives that illusion, which is all you need, right? So very, very nice. So you got one holstered, the one with the rope on the end, like the little loop, and it's in that nice lighter red. And you can see it has like this big ball that pegs into the side, because when you take the actual, I'll show you real quick, I'll take the holster, this holster that he has on him right now, right? This is the one obviously that makes it look like it's empty, because he has both clubs in his hand. But if I take that out, I'll show you real quick what it looks like. You can see he's gonna have a giant hole on the side of his leg, so you're definitely gonna want to have his holster, pegged in at all times. Whichever one it be, you're definitely gonna want that holster to be plugged in, or else it's gonna look like he's got a giant, gap coming out of his leg. I mean, I guess that could be battle damage, or if you wanted to make him look like he got shot and got like a hole torn in the side of his leg, I guess that would definitely kind of work. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. But yeah, definitely otherwise gonna want this plugged in. So you can just plug that back in. All right, it snaps in pretty easily there, nice and tight, and you can obviously adjust it on that ball, so you can swing it around, and that's going to be useful for when you want to get his legs out to the side for like a splits pose. You're definitely going to want to have to like rotate this out the way so that it doesn't run into his upper torso or his waist. But yeah, so you have that, moving him out the way one more time. And then you have this other holster right here, which has obviously both of the clubs holstered, and it looks very, very nice. And again, got that ball so you can plug it into his side. So yeah, there you have that. That's all the versions of his holsters. And then lastly, for his weapons, you have the grappling hook, which I haven't really played yet, because it is wired, and so just to keep its shape, I left it like this out of the package. But you can actually, of course, stretch this out, and it's wired, so it's basically like a slinky effect. So as you stretch it out, it's gonna coil, gradually and come more and more out. And he's got, that nice grappling hook that we saw on the side of the packaging, the one where he was like running. And that looks very, very nice. Nice white, clean white paint all the way around for it. So you have that. And then you also have his billy club, the version where he's got the rope in between, so it's more like a whip, and then you've got 2 of the billy clubs on the end with the rope in between, and again it has that slinky effect. So I did stretch this one out a little bit, because out of the package it was more tightly coiled like that, nice and scrunched like a spring, but then you can pull on it and of course stretch it out, and it has pretty wide length honestly when you stretch it out to its full capacity. So yeah, it can stretch super far. So now I'm probably gonna have trouble trying to actually get that to coil back in, but I'm sure with patience I can get it to go back, closer. But yeah, it is a nice wire in there. So if you've ever played with the slinky, it's basically like that. And you just gotta kind of push it back in there and compress it, and there you go. So yeah, you have that. A very, very nice accessory. So I like that, man. He is loaded with all the accessories that you would ever need for a Daredevil, for sure. And then this back here in the background, this is a Funko Pop I got at Target. I was planning to just use that little comic, cover in the background as a backdrop. I was thinking I could get it out of this, acrylic display case, but apparently it is stuck in there. I think I would have to like actually break that open to get into it. So yeah, so I decided to just put the whole Funko Pop in the background, so hopefully you guys like that. But yeah, so bringing Daredevil back in, let's get into Articulation. So he moves very, very well, I'll let you know right now, and the joints feel very good on him. So starting with the head, The head and the neck are kind of separate pieces, but when you use them together, the neck, you know, kind of naturally goes back as the head does. So as you push it up, Daredevil is able to look up that far. All right. And then push his head down that far, and you can tuck it in. So very, very good range, and it doesn't get gappy, like really either way. So no lollipop syndrome that Hasbro has a lot of times. So that's very, very good. Nice and flush, you know, throughout that range of movement. So that's really, really good. Oh, and before I forget, shout outs to Durkle on Macari, man. I almost forgot. Shout outs to my guy Durkle on Macari. Did I say that in the beginning of the review? I don't know if I did, but shout outs to Durkle and Macari for hooking me up with this figure. Very, very much appreciated, my guy. I've been looking forward to this figure, so thank you very much for supplying him to me. Appreciate you. Pleasure doing business. All right, and then, of course, we have rotation side to side for the head. The head can rotate 360 all the way around, right? So bring it all the way around. And the neck, again, is a separate piece. So I try to always line it up with the Adam's apple. You can see it sculpted in there. Nice wash going through there. But yeah, and then you get plenty of leaning side to side, especially when you use the neck too. So yeah, you can, plenty of, excuse me, tilting and expressive posing. Very, very good for that. For the arms, you can raise up and out. Or sorry, you can raise them straight up that far, which is really, really good, far past a 90, and that looks very, very nice. I love that range. Comes back down very, very nice to the side of the body. It looks nice and flush and natural. You have a bicep swivel, of course. Got that cut for the bicep swivel in there. All right, very, very nice and smooth, no issues with it, nice and tight. You have a double jointed elbow, which can crunch super deep. I mean, look at that. Way better than a 90 degrees. And then you have a hinge here for the forearm and the hands, or like the wrist. And that allows for that nice vertical motion. Again, for like with weapons like this, you always want the vertical hinge so that you can get this type of movement like that. And he has that. And I believe you can also crunch in a little bit in and out. Just a little bit, depending on how you orient that ball peg. Yeah, kind of like a SH figure arts joint, you can make the arm, or sorry, the hand also go like that. So, you know, horizontally as well, as you can see there. So in and out, very, very nice joint, ball peg joint for the wrist there. All right, let's get to the torso, because the torso is super nice. So you got the nice diaphragm cut joint right here, right? So using just that top joint, you can rotate to the side like really, really nicely. You might have to, like, you know, go slow with it at first, because you're gonna hear the plastic kind of stressing a little bit. You might hear a little bit of squeakiness, but that's okay. Just keep gradually pushing it, and then you'll be able to get some really nice side to side twists like that. All right, and then using just that top joint, let's see, yeah, you can crunch forward just using that top one about that far, which is pretty decent. Better than a lot of Marvel Legends. And then leaning backwards, you can go about that far using just the top joint. That's really, really good, honestly. For just the upper torso, right, with that diaphragm joint, that's pretty good. And then with the bottom joint, the ab crunch, that also does rotate to give you some more twist action, right? Side to side, it is pretty tight, so you can hear it kind of squeaking, but it should be okay. If you really need to, you can drop some oil in there, some shock oil to, you know, lubricate that joint. And then you have some really good leaning, some great side-to-side leaning like that for some crunch. Very, very good flexibility. And then when you combine both of these joints, you can really, really get them in a deep crunch like that. Coming forward, a nice, very nice deep crunch like so. And then leaning backwards, same thing. He goes back very, very far when you use that bottom part as well, bottom ab joint. All right, so Daredevil can basically do the limbo, like on the level that Spider-Man did in that first movie. All right, so in that Razor fight, very, very nice. All right, bringing him back up, and it doesn't get too gappy in there when you do that too, which is nice. I mean, obviously you're gonna see a gap if you're looking like right under, but you know, pretty nice overall. Preserves the sculpt very nicely. You've got butterfly joints for the arms, which look pretty nice, you know. I mean, obviously they cut up the sculpt a little bit, but not too much you can do about that if you want to really truly maximize the range. So reaching forward, he can get great across the chest poses. Reaching backwards, same thing. I mean, look how far he can reach his arm backwards. That is insane. Very, very nice reaching across the back. That looks really, really good. And of course, with the shoulder joint, you can rotate the arm all the way around in a 360 windmill fashion like that. So that looks excellent. Coming down to the lower body. Now the legs are very good. So he actually does have drop down hips, but without using the drop down, if you're just kicking forward normally, you can already get that high, right? That's a nice high kick. You can see that from the side. Goes out a little bit to the side, but I mean, it's mostly straight. So pretty dead on kick right there. And then you can see now the hips are kind of dropped down a little bit. So if you like really drop them down, you can get even deeper, even higher of a kick like that. Really, really nice high kick for this guy. And then of course, you know, moving backwards, you get some pretty nice range. I would suggest definitely pulling the leg down first if you're trying to kick backwards so that you can get more range. This is like a pretty hard piece overall, like the diaper piece. So, you know, but it does have a little bit of flex to it, so you can get the leg going back about that far, which is decent. All right, very, very good. Push that back up. You got double jointed knees that allow him to kick all the way up basically to the upper back, just about in line with the upper back when you straighten it out. So that looks very, very good. Come back down. The feet design is really nice. Obviously, you know, no thigh swivel. Mafex usually doesn't do thigh swivels, but with that type of joint, the engineering, the way the, you know, ball is situated, you can again obviously rotate up there at the thigh. So, you know, the entire leg is going to rotate like a, you know, normal anatomical human. So that is good. It looks really, really good. All right, coming down to the feet. Now these are really good feet. So you have a toe hinge, number one. So I can, there you go. Very steep toe hinge. You can not, you know, there shouldn't really be any reason for him to do this, but if you really wanted him to, you can have the toes coming all the way up like that, have them flat. You can even make them go down that far. All right, so that's cool. And then you can hinge them all the way to the tippy toes, all the way that far back, that far up, all right, before they hit the shins or the sculpt like that. And then you have a very nice steep ankle rocker in there as well on that ball. And you can rotate the foot side to side, the entire foot on that ball as well. So he gets plenty of range in the feet as well. So yeah, this is a super nice Daredevil, man. And here I'll show you out to the side. He can just about do a perfect splits, maybe just shy of it. So again, I'm gonna rotate this so that it kind of comes out of the way of the, you know, the waist piece. But yeah, you can get his legs coming all the way up and out pretty much to the side. So look at that, almost a perfect splits. So that is awesome, man. Yeah, this is by far one of my favorite Mafex figures. Like, this thing killed it as far as articulation goes and design. Really, really nice comic accurate sculpt and detail. All the weapons you could possibly need. Like, I really don't see what much more you would need. I did actually see something on Instagram though, where somebody had like a custom weapons kit for this guy. So I think he comes with some extra billy clubs that are basically give the effect like he's spinning them. So I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty cool. So if I can find out what that set is or where it's from, I'll definitely link it in the description for you guys in case you want to add that to my, you know, your Daredevil. Because I'm thinking about adding it, to be honest. I think that's a nice, you know, extra thing to have for him. But yeah, and then I think it might have come with some other stuff, but yeah, it was like a whole weapon set just for this, specifically for this Daredevil. So I just may pick that up at some point, but I'll try to have it linked in the description for you guys. And I will have a clean figurine scale, of course, you know, breakdown in the description as well. So be looking out for that. But yeah, this is just like my overall review for him right now. Man, fantastic, fantastic figure. Like, I can't tell you how much fun I've had posing this guy up, even if, only briefly. But man, just like a great figure all around. Aesthetics, articulation, posability, accessories, everything on this guy is fantastic. I haven't found, one single thing on him that I dislike yet. So yeah, pretty awesome figure, man. So let's go ahead and get into the size comparisons. All right, so we can end it. I know I'm low-key sad to even end this review, but we gotta end it. We gotta get those other videos out too. So let's go ahead and get Daredevil stacked up with some peeps. All right, some friends and foes. All right, so I'm moving back here, and I guess I'll move this out the way just so we can get a better focus on the characters next to him. All right, so first up we have the Mafex Homecoming Spider-Man. I know you guys haven't seen this one in a while. I've had him posed up on my shelf in a pretty nice pose that I liked for a long time, and I didn't want to take him down, but I said, you know what, for this review, screw it. We gotta show what he looks like, because in Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is, I think, Spider-Man 4, the next Tom Holland movie that's coming out, I'm pretty sure Daredevil is going to have some kind of important role. And so in honor of that, I figured might as well show him off next to this new Daredevil. And get him standing. Okay, there we go. So here he is with the Mafex Homecoming Spider-Man, like that. All right. Make sure we got some good lighting on these two. All right, cool. And then here he is with the in-game Captain America from Mafex. I've got him with the Steve Rogers head on, holding his cowl or his helmet. And yeah, I think these three look pretty solid together, man. Very, very nice. Spidey's gonna fall over. Kind of got his legs or his feet a little bit awkward, but yeah, you can see the size comparisons, and it seems like Daredevil is the tallest, I would say, maybe, or maybe Captain America. I think Captain America has just a little bit over him, maybe with the top of the hair, but they're pretty close in height, almost the same. Spider-Man is definitely the smallest, which is appropriate because he's a kid, at least this version of him. So let's move these two out the way, and let's go ahead and bring in the in-game Thor from Mafex. All right, so there is the mighty Thor next to Daredevil, and then we have the SH Figuarts Mark 6 Battle Damaged Edition Iron Man. All right, and yeah, I played around with him a little bit too, swapped out some parts for the battle damage. He's a really fun figure once you start playing around with him. But yeah, very solid. So you can see those size comparisons. And Iron Man, of course, is the smallest, being SHF. They're a little bit smaller in scale, so there you go. Move these guys aside. Here he is with ZD Toys Thanos. All right. And then for another Mafex, we have the Mark 50 Iron Man, another one of my personal favorites from Mafex. So booyah. There you have those three. And yeah, I think they stack up pretty well. Yep. So I think that looks pretty good. All right, moving these two. And down here, let's bring in the NECA Assassin's Creed Ezio from Brotherhood. And then we'll bring in the Marvel Legends Matt Murdock from No Way Home by Hasbro. And I really wanted to see how these two stacked, with one another side by side, because I plan on using this as like a stand-in Matt Murdock figure, since I don't have like a comic version of him. I think this will do pretty nice. Charlie Cox, I think he's got, I feel like this, physique could work, or like, you could definitely make that work for like an alter ego type of thing. And even the skin tones are kind of similar between these two. I'd say the Daredevil is like a little bit more faded of a tone, but still I think you can make that work. So I'll definitely be having something like that on my shelf I still haven't seen the original Daredevil series or Reborn Again, but I do plan to watch both because I am a big Daredevil fan as well. So I always love when Daredevil and Spider-Man collab, but yeah, there you go. So moving them out the way, we'll bring in the Marvel Legends retro card Peter Parker with his camera. And then we have the retro card Black Cat for another comic kind of comparison there. And there you can see that. Daredevil does seem to be the biggest of the three, so I think that's appropriate. All right. Good, good, good. Moving them aside. Let's bring in the Toy Biz. Spider-Man Classics McFarlane Spider-Man. This is the Batch 2 version. And then we have the Mafex Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man from the deluxe set. All right, there you go. I think that looks pretty good. Andrew Garfield's a taller guy, so he might be just slightly bigger than Daredevil height-wise, and then McFarlane Spider-Man, yeah, that looks about right. So cool. Moving these two Spideys to the side, we'll bring in the DC Universe Classics New 52, All-Stars Batman. And then for a Lightning collection, we have In Space Black Ranger, so Mr. Carlos from In Space. All right, you see how they stack. Pretty good, all pretty similar in height, so that'll definitely work. And let's see here, for an SH Figure Arts, we have Masked Rider Blade from Kamen Rider. He's still holding on to the Thunder Shield from the Thunder Rangers. And then for a G.I. Joe comparison, shout outs to Rotillo, my man, a strong G.I. Joe collector. We have Snake Eyes from the Snake Eyes Origins movie. And I think that looks pretty solid. Obviously much smaller than both of them. I think that works pretty well though. These guys are in pretty good scale. All right. Last but not least, we'll bring in the Taskmaster, the Udon Taskmaster, Marvel Legends. And then we have, for McFarlane Toys, we have the Black Adam. I'm cheating a little bit here because I have him on a stand. He won't stand on his own. But yeah, you can see that Black Adam is towering over both of them. So, 7-inch scale, much bigger, makes sense. All right, and concluding it, we have a Marvel Legends Shocker and Luke Cage from Netflix series. Got to get these two together, right? Very, very cool. All right, and then to officially end it, we have the So Toys Green Shuriken Warrior. To see a 6 scale character against a 12 scale, character. There you go. So obviously about double in height there, maybe a little more. All right, so there it is, guys. That's it. That's gonna be my review on the Mafex number 223 comic version of Daredevil. A very, very solid figure, man. I think one of Mafex's best. Love it. Definitely recommend it if you can get your hands on it for a good price. If you like the video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe if you're new. And thank you very much. I plan to have that Maximum Spider-Man review up tomorrow, so I'll see you then. Peace.